Good day, Daytona. 9:03 is your time, and it is Friday. It has been the longest week of my life. I swear it was about 14 days long. So I am so glad the weekend is here. Thank you for joining us this morning. So we have a couple of great things today. This morning, Volusia County School Board Chair Ruben Colon is going to introduce us to the new superintendent, Dr. Carmen Balgobin. She is here with us today, and we learned a new fact about her that we're very excited to share. So if you have any questions for these two, this is the number to call, 386-239-0033. Again, it's 386-239-0033. You can also send us your questions on Facebook. First, though, we're going to begin with WFTV's Mike Springer, who has a bunch of things you've been working on this week. So Daytona Beach had their commission meeting this Wednesday. What came out of that?
The biggest thing that came out of that is they're talking about putting in maybe a building moratorium for the LPGA corridor. So basically what's going on is you're having all this growth and development there, and they're worried about concurrency. How is that going to be affecting the waterways, the traffic congestion there, police, fire, and medical services? So they're considering doing a building moratorium to kind of slow some of that development down so they can catch up on the other aspects that may need to be updated, whether it's building out LPGA itself, extending some of the access roads there, improving sewer and waterway systems, schools, fire, police, all of that. So they're going to have a workshop tentatively set August 24th to kind of discuss the idea, where staff will bring back a proposal with some details about what that moratorium may potentially look like, and they'll have a discussion, then decide from there where they want to go with it, if it's something they do want to take an action on or just kick down the road for now. So there's a couple issues, though, with the moratorium. Is one, even if you go down LPGA right now, there's a lot of spots that look like they're not developed, but there's already a lot of planned development that's already approved to happen there. So you're talking about thousands and thousands of units that are not yet here, but have already been approved to happen. So you can't. So even if they put a moratorium in place, it wouldn't affect those. So there's even less open space than you could see right now, potentially.
Really?
Yes.
Because there already looks like there's a lot of development. That's one of the things I hear a lot is people in this area saying, like, we're doing too much. Like, this is while the wildlife is coming, into the city. So I'm glad that they're doing this. But so you're telling me, though, right now, when I drive down LPGA, there's actually more development that's already in the works that I just don't see.
There's more development coming that's already approved. So even if they put a moratorium in place, they can't stop it because it's already been approved. So then you would have litigation there because you can't go back and say, well, sorry, I know we approved this 2 years ago, but
we changed our
mind.
Yeah.
So it's not going to really, how much of an impact it's going to have is kind of up for debate. Is it more of a feel-good thing, or will it actually stop some of the growth? The other concern they have is that LPGA bridge over there, that 2-lane bridge, that's very tight right now. It's going to have to be built out. The problem is, best case estimates put at maybe 5 to 10 years from seeing that bridge built out, if it does get approved to be built out. So how does that handle all the extra traffic and building that's slated to come here in the next few years? And when you talk to some developers, their concerns are that if you do put a moratorium in place, development here will slow, which some people may say is good, but they argue that if you stop building homes here, businesses aren't going to come, so there's less jobs here. If you stop building homes, we're already in a very tight market when it comes to affordable housing.
Right.
So now you're going to shrink that supply even further, making the affordable housing issue potentially worse than it already is.
Oh my gosh. Geez, there's just no easy solution.
So we'll see if they take it up and what they end up doing with it, if they do put that in place, and if it is able to stop some of the growth.
Okay. Well, at least they're giving it a shot. They're trying. All right. And then the other thing, too, you were telling me there's been more overdose deaths in Volusia County?
Yeah. So overdoses are now the number one death they're seeing here at the medical examiner's office, at least for last year in Volusia County, is overdose deaths. And they're seeing something new, which is a lot of these deaths are being mixed with fentanyl.
That's what I thought.
So that's something new. Like, I think about 3/4 of them are mixed with fentanyl, the overdoses that are happening. So that's a new trend that they're starting to see there in the medical examiner's office. But that outpaces heart issues, motor vehicle accidents, gun violence, anything like that. Number one death right now is overdoses here in Volusia County.
Did they give you the number of how many we have so far this year?
Last year they had about 400 overdose deaths.
Oh my God.
Now, this is just from the medical examiner's office. They only autopsy about 8% of the deaths in the county.
So they're expecting that it's a way higher number than that.
Could be, yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
And the typical profile is about 44-year-old white male tends to be the typical overdose victim here in Volusia County from what they're seeing.
Men in their 40s? Really? I never would have thought that. I thought you were going to tell me, 20s, teens, late teens, but men in their 40s. what are they doing about this? Or did they say anything else
So
they're doing?
we talked to a couple of different people. We talked to people at SMA Healthcare to see what they were doing. And, they're saying when the pandemic started, a lot of people began to self-medicate. They were home more, maybe they lost jobs, maybe they lost loved ones, so they began to self-medicate. And typically, men are less likely to reach out for help in situations than women are. So you see a lot more men struggling with overdoses than women, though they are seeing some more women happen with that. So there are things out there. You can pick up Narcan. There are some clinics that will give out free Narcan to families. There's rehab facilities, residential facilities where people can go to get help. From a law enforcement perspective, they're doing all they can. A lot of it is coming across the border. A lot of it's coming across in trucks. So it's
and
tough.
I'm seeing a lot of arrests too for fentanyl traffickers.
It is, but there's so many traffickers out there and so much fentanyl. It's barely doing a dent. At that point. So
It's
you're having
really that bad?
Yeah. So there's so much on the streets now. It's tough to keep up with the supply that's coming in there because you're also short deputies in law enforcement. So there's not a flush number of them to really stay on top of all that stuff. But it's a combination of working with state, local, and federal agencies all together because, our sheriff here can't really do much about the border, but he can work with federal agents and others to kind of do what they can here in Volusia County to kind of get a hold on it.
And the sad thing is that this drug problem directly relates to the mental health problem that directly relates to the homelessness problem.
Mm-hmm.
So until we figure out how to put a lasso on those three things that are all connected, like none of these problems are going to be resolved. And I know they know that. I'm just wondering, I feel like there's been a lot of groups and a lot of studies, but it hasn't been very effective. So I'm just wondering, what is their plan to actually effectively combat it? So here's my other thing. I was talking to Senator Tom Wright the other day, and he was saying, and the governor said yesterday, they had this huge surplus, this huge rainy day fund. Why aren't we using any of those funds for some of these problems? Has the county, when you've talked to any of these people, have they said anything about state funding and using any state or federal funds to combat this? I know that the settlement from the drugstores and stuff we're doing, but anything in additional, because they always say that basically, the affordable housing problem is it's money.
I'm not sure. I've not heard. But I don't want to give the wrong answer. So I haven't heard if they have. I know that, like you said, there were the lawsuits with the funding from that. So some of the money from there may be going to it. You do see those drug seizure programs too, where they get some of the money back that way too. But I'm not sure if there's more out there that they just haven't tapped into yet.
Okay, I guess we'll have to find that one out. And then we smoking on beaches.
Mm-hmm.
And while we talked about this, is vaping smoking on beaches, is that not allowed? And are they going to ban smoking on beaches? Because I know the state said that each city or county, I guess, could decide on their own, right?
So the law that went into effect last Friday basically leaves it up to the counties or cities, whichever one has jurisdiction over the beach, to decide if they want to prohibit smoking. So when you talk to some of the people out there, the reasons they would support that basically being twofold. One, you have the public health issue of secondhand smoke, but the bigger one that people more often bring up is litter. Mm-hmm. So the most common form of trash on the beach tends to be cigarette butts. So this is a way people think they could help solve that problem there, is by, if you ban smoking on the beach, then therefore the litter would be less if you were to have that. So it would be up to Volusia County to decide if it would want to do that and move in that direction, because the county has control of the beaches here, the 47 miles of coast that we have.
Okay.
Now, some cities like Daytona Beach Shores, they've discussed maybe wanting to have a conversation with the county to share that they would support a ban like this measure. So far, the county hasn't received anything formally at this time. Okay. I did talk to the mayor of New Smyrna Beach. He says the commission hasn't discussed it yet, but he personally would favor a ban there, again, citing the litter issues there as well, but he would have to see what his commission wants to do. I know the county chair, he says that he respects people's right to be able to smoke in public, but he also sees litter as a big issue. So he personally would also favor a ban there because of the littering issue, but he would have to talk to his constituents to kind of see what they feel, what they think when it comes to that as well. So right now there's no official movement on it yet, but you could start to see in the coming months maybe some cities and towns and groups start to petition the county to maybe move in that direction there.
So then we don't have to worry about being fined for smoking on the beaches just yet. Okay.
No. So right now you would be fined if you litter on the beach. It's about $100 fine. So other people have brought up the point that, this is just too excessive. This would be too much government overreach. You're kind of forcing beach patrol to do more than they really need to, watching to see who's smoking, who's not. Yeah. Why not just up the littering fine, increase it from $100 to a higher amount where maybe it's more punitive and people are going to be less likely to litter? Okay,
that makes sense. Okay, now, they said that they could not include filterless cigars, but they didn't say anything about vaping. So are those two things allowed on the beach? Can you vape and smoke a cigar?
I don't know if vaping would be included in the ban.
You
That's
don't
I don't.
either? I
Yeah.
cannot find that out. I got to find that out. Okay, I'm going to have to ask Tammy Mal first. I bet she'll be able to tell me. All right. And then the last thing, there's a job fair coming up next week.
Two. You're going to have two job fairs next week, yes. So one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. And I know Mr. Cologne and Dr. Balgavin will correct me if I'm wrong with the dates there, but I think you have the first one will be Tuesday. That will be at Mainland High School. Then DeLand High School will have one there on Thursday. But basically, they're looking to fill a lot of those support staff positions. They're looking to get some certified people into the classroom there. They're also looking for the support positions, the paraprofessionals, the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers. How do you fill those spots? Because I think roughly with those positions, there's roughly 300 or so openings and maybe about another 350 or so certified positions that are open in the district. So, with school year starting in a couple of weeks, so they're trying to do their best to fill those spots as we get ready for the next school year.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike Springer. Maybe he will stick around. And as we are ready, we are going to meet right after the break. So we're going to meet our new Volusia County Superintendent when we come back. Good day, Daytona. Welcome back. So we are talking to Dr. Carmen Balgobin, the new Volusia County Superintendent. If you could see me, well, I guess you can because there is a camera in front of me. I am just smiling ear to ear. I don't know you, Dr. Balgobin, but I love your energy already. And there's just something about you. I don't know what it is. I just knew you were just a good egg. And so when I met you, I gave you a hug, I just welcome, congratulations. I know we don't know each other, but I'm so proud of you.
Trey, thank you so much. First and foremost, thank you for having us this morning on your show. I was told to come that we will have coffee this morning and breakfast with Trey, and I'm like, why not?
Mike Springer forgot to bring the breakfast and the coffee.
Mike is on his way.
Oh,
he's gonna, he'll take care of it right after the show.
So, and Ruben, I have to thank you because you are a man of your word. You told me that when Dr. Balgobin came back that she would be on the show, and you brought her, so I thank you.
Absolutely, and it's a pleasure to be back in the studio here at WNDB.
It is exciting news. Okay, so we need to know, what is the 411? What's the story about Dr. Balgobin that we don't know? Tell me, where did you grow up? How'd you get into education?
Absolutely. So Mike actually asked me a very good question the other day, and I said, Mike, that's a really good question. He said, do you think that this is a profession by which it was by chance for you to just serve, and be in the role in which you're in, or you're meant to be? And I said, Mike, I truly believe I was meant to be in this role. Because I actually started out, Trey, in the corporate world. A lot of folks don't know that.
Oh.
I served for 8 years. I worked for Travelers Insurance Company, and I was a workers' comp claims adjuster. 8 years.
Really?
Absolutely. That's how I started out.
Okay, how do you transition that into education?
Because ever since I was growing up, I always loved education. The one game that I would, or game, I guess, that I would play every single day when I go home from school, it would be enacting and being in that role of the teacher that day.
Really?
Right? And
so you were bossy.
I was bossy, and I was always the teacher, right? My friends didn't have the opportunity of being the teacher. It was always me. So then eventually they stopped attending classes because I was always the teacher. But it was this innate love that I had for teaching, growing up. And but it so happened that I had the opportunity of starting out with Travelers Insurance Company, and I kept getting promoted. And after about 8 years, I had a reflection one day. And I was sitting by my office, and I was looking out the window, and I said, 5 years from now, what do I want to do? Is this what I want to do? And I couldn't find the answer. So I started thinking about it more. And I knew that I always had this affinity for teaching and learning. So I went back to school and completed my degree in education.
Really?
Took a $15,000 pay cut.
Yikes.
Right? And became a foreign language high school teacher.
What language?
Spanish.
Okay.
Spanish. Can you believe that?
I can.
So I taught at Evans High School in Orange County. And I did AP, dual enrollment courses, served for a few years, and then got promoted and started working for the county as a trainer and coach for Orange County Public Schools. And then from there, became an assistant principal. I worked in both Title I and non-Title I schools. And then I got promoted, and I got my first principal job at Tildenville Elementary, a dual language school.
Ah.
When I started there, it was not a dual language magnet school, but we made it a dual language magnet school and a foreign language academy. And it was one of the best in the state.
And that was under your leadership?
Under my leadership.
That is fantastic.
Yes. It was a focus school, what you would call a transformation school, that was being supervised by the state. And in 1 year, we gained 63 points and became one of the highest A's in the West Learning community.
Okay, well then, I got to talk about the grades then. We might as
You
well
have to talk about the grades.
Let's talk about what are your plans? What are your goals when it comes to the grades? Right now, I believe it was a B. Most schools got a B, but there were 9 schools got an A, so that's fantastic.
Yes.
22 B schools, 31 C schools, and 7 D schools. Now, there was 0 F, so that's great.
That's great.
And then 5, I guess the I must be for incomplete?
Yes.
Because of COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we've got 22 Bs. Now, that's great, but the 31 Cs, that is, now, I will tell you, my child goes to school right now in Seminole County. We have a house in Daytona as well, and we do want to eventually move him here, but that's one of the things that's been me not wanting to do it too soon because those schools are graded better. So what are your plans to get those C schools up?
Okay, very good question. Well, let me start out by saying that I'm very proud that we were able to obtain a B. Serving as the deputy superintendent for Volusia County, I was able to work intimately with our folks at the district level school base. And I know what we've gone through in the 2.5 years.
It's been a lot of drama.
Unprecedented, what we've gone through, right? We didn't have a manual. We had to figure it out. And I will tell you, we have an amazing school board. Our chair is here today, but every single one of those individuals on that school board, they care about kids. And that's what unites us all. So with that said, I will tell you that the team has worked diligently. In the state of Florida, we have 15 counties that actually their letter grade went down. But we were able to not just maintain, Trey, but also improve.
Really?
Within the B range. Yes, ma'am.
Even with all of the nonsense that was going on within the
with
wow.
everything that was going on, because we stayed focused on students, right? So with that said, we improved 5%. We went from a 52 to a 57.
So imagine what you're going to do. I just dropped my headphone. Sorry about that. Imagine what you're going to do under your leadership without the drama.
Without, anything.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. So we're going to have a clear plan for every single school in our district because every student matters.
Yeah, and I think every parent
student
needs to hear
matters.
that too. Should parents be concerned about the shortage of teachers and support staff? That is a big concern, I think, for all of us. We know that we need to be now more active in our child's education, which parents should be doing anyway, and not putting it all on schools. But this does kind of alert us like, oh, are they going to be getting the instruction they need? It puts you guys in a really bad position. You were already dealing with drama, and now you've got this hurdle to go over. How does it make you feel? What are you going to do?
I'll tell you what, Volusia County is a desirable place to be and work, right? And we've got a lot of folks now that are paying attention to what's going on in Volusia County. I will tell you that we've had, with some of the job application, the applicants out there, folks from all different, like Orange County, you name it, different counties that are trying to get into
Really?
Volusia County.
Oh, that is
Oh,
great
yes,
news.
quality candidates, right? And I believe that the shortage that, something that I know, the shortage that we have, it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's a nationwide issue.
But with the candidates that are out there, they want to join a county and work for an organization where they feel a sense of belonging, right? There is good culture. And I will tell you one thing that we all believe in is that creating the conditions where we have applicants, people that are joining our workforce, but also they want to stay here because they believe in what we're doing. So we're all about creating the right climate and culture for our students and our staff. And I think that's what's going to put us at the forefront,
Okay.
right? Where people not just want to join, but they want to stay here.
So we're going to let's talk about the culture that existed before your arrival and how you plan on changing that. We'll do that as soon as we get back.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to Good Day Daytona, and we're continuing our conversation with the new Volusia County Superintendent, Dr. Carmen Balgobin, and of course, we've got our board chair, Ruben Colon, is joining us as well. So, before we get started on this, Ruben, you and I have had conversations. You've always been nice enough to come on the show and tell me what the school board meetings, the recaps and previews and things like that. So what we're going to do right now is we are just going to take a moment to listen to some of the drama that's happened over the last year or so. So, Ruben, let's start with you. First of all, how long have you been serving on the school board?
So I've had the pleasure of serving on the school board 3+ years, and I'm ending my 4th year right now.
So, how many school superintendents have you had to do a search for? Just 2?
So we've done a search for one.
Okay.
Just one. Dr. Balgobin, we had the honor of working with her during COVID, the most difficult time in education, between the closing of schools. And I think you started right after COVID hit, and she was key at transitioning us to distance learning and everything that we had to do to finish off the school year. If you remember, kids got an extra week of spring break, and then they found out they weren't coming back. So we had to transition very quickly. And Dr. B had just started with us as a deputy superintendent over teaching and learning. And so there was that search. And then when the decision, we created a strategic plan, which was very important. And, it's the way we do our work. It's the roadmap of where we're going. And the way I describe, what you dubbed as the drama is a speed bump. Just when you're on the road and you have a speed bump, what do? You slow down and you go over the bump and you keep going. Mm-hmm. And so, the strategic plan is in place. We are in favor of the work that is being done. The need for transition was just a speed bump. This is not about the people. This is about our students. And so the work continues. I'm grateful for a lot of the systems that were put in place that really, there was not much that stopped because we were happy with the strategic plan. We are continuing the strategic plan. We believe in it. It's what the board laid out as a vision. And so the changes have been speed bumps, but you don't stop and get out of your car because you hit a speed bump. You keep going. And so I'm excited about where we're going. Dr. B had the full support of the board to come back, and we're grateful that she came back from Broward County, where she had a beautiful office facing the cruise ships and the ocean and the whole shebang. But, Dr. B loves Volusia County, and we are grateful that she was willing to come back. There is no learning curve. She served as our superintendent during the unfortunate time that our superintendent was on leave. And so she has hit the ground running. There's no learning curve.
Which I thought was great, must have made an easy call for you to make. So, we just heard in there where you said you didn't want your employees to have to go through the treatment that you had to deal with. So I know then when you called Dr. Balgobin, how did that phone call go after that meeting? I'm assuming you called her probably shortly after the meeting. And did you say, like, what was that phone call like? You know, can you come back? Do you want to come back? Well, how did that conversation go?
Well, here's the part a lot of folks didn't know is Dr. B is very admired by the district staff, by the school-based staff, and I would argue that Dr. B never left. Dr. B was here the entire time. Even while she was in Broward County, she was serving as a mentor and a leader for folks who couldn't go to our current leader, didn't feel comfortable going to our current leader. And so
Seriously?
And so I can go there. And so as our leader over teaching and learning, I will share with you that when Dr. B made her announcement that she was going, my phone blew up.
Really?
And that was not true of the latter, because Dr. B made an impact in people's lives.
Oh,
And
I can feel that.
you know, as a board member, when we were closing schools, reopening schools in a time where there were no right answers, everybody's answer was personal. We had the honor and pleasure of working with Dr. B, and I can tell you in my 4 years of serving, the reopening of schools during COVID was probably one of the best times. The board dynamic was amazing. And so, again, we knew that if Dr. B was willing to come back, we were honored to have her come back. And when she accepted the possibility of coming back, I mean, it was like Christmas.
Oh, I bet. Okay, so Dr. B. Ruben didn't answer the question. How'd that phone call go? What did he say? Because I could just imagine.
We never stopped talking.
So you two had been in communication the whole time?
Again,
I know you said she never left, and I know you felt like
never left.
you guys were in contact, but there had to be, after that whole Dr. Fritz thing, you had to have called her and been like, you're not going to believe what happened. Can you come back? Are you interested? Will you consider it? Is that how it happened? Or
I think we had a meeting, right?
Yep.
We met, and we had a really good conversation. And I shared with Mr. Colon that obviously my heart is in Volusia County, right? When you work with a team of individuals during COVID-19, you get to know them, and you get to know them very well, right? So they had captured my heart, and I truly believe in the work that we did here, because that strategic plan that Mr. Colon is talking about, it was created by all of us. The board was very involved in that strategic plan. As a matter of fact, each one of our board members had a goal that they worked on with team members. So it became our way of work. There was such investment in the work, and like as he's indicated, we have this roadmap. And it was important for me to see that this county and all of us continue that good work that we had started. Because the roadmap is there, and we've got really good people.
Yeah.
Right? So all you need is the leadership, the guidance, and the support to make it happen. This is a premier county. It truly is a premier county. And to be frank with you, Trey, I went to Broward County, and the superintendent there is someone that I knew. And the staff there in Broward County, being the second largest in Florida and the sixth largest in the nation, you would think it's so large that there might be it will take some time, to connect. I will tell you that right away the team and I connected.
Well, then wasn't it hard to make that decision? I know you said your heart was
It
here.
was hard because I was so well received, right? And loved and appreciated in such a short time.
Did you feel loved and appreciated here?
Absolutely. But what I had here, what we have here, or what I had here with this team, I didn't have it with the Broward team. We were the COVID team together that worked through the uncertainties day to day, minute by minute, hour by hour. Like, again, there was no plan. And when Mr. Colon tells you that we had one of the smoothest reopening, you bet you we did.
Really?
Yeah, it was team effort. So that's the part. And I tell you, I came back on Monday, and it was absolutely beautiful, something completely unexpected. I was coerced into going through the front door because apparently we didn't have keys for me to go through the side.
Okay.
And I opened up the front door, and I'm talking about the sprucing up and things that we will be doing. So I'm so engaged in the conversation. And I open up, and first, second, and third floor, it's packed with employees and confetti and music, and I was speechless.
My God. Did you cry? I would have teared up.
That's
touching.
This is what I said to them. there's not a moment where I don't have a whole lot of words, depending. But I didn't have. I was just speechless, and just taken back, and it was very touching, and it reminded me right then and there why it was back.
You know, as a parent, let me just tell you that feels fantastic to hear that, because to hear the emotion and connection that you have with the staff and the teachers there makes me want to send my child to school here.
I hope you do.
Because it's like, okay, they actually care. And so they might not have the highest grades, but they care and they're going to try to do better. And that's all you can ever ask of anybody, is to try their best.
Absolutely. And as the leader, I have to showcase that.
Yeah.
Right? They have to see it modeled by me. If I
And
expect
that's part of the
for
culture you're gonna
everyone else
change.
to do it, absolutely.
What are some of your other plans that you want to change from where you had, when you weren't the boss? I mean, you were the deputy, but you still weren't the boss. What are some of those culture points that you want to touch on and change?
So I'll tell you what, Trey, innately I'm a culture and climate girl. Always been, right? I believe that the work that we do, that strategic plan, as powerful as it is, it means absolutely nothing if you don't have the people behind you or side by side with you doing the work. And I'm a side by side person. So I want to make sure that our entire team, that I'm modeling what's expected of them, right? Which is to create a learning environment and a culture where everyone feels welcome and a sense of belonging, safe, right? And that the world is at their disposition. Basically, what I would like, you asked me about the schools and the C schools. We have, when we work on our plans for our schools, it's a customized plan. So specifically, what a school may need here, an A school over here would need versus a B or C school might be totally different.
Oh.
Absolutely. So the plan needs to be very intentional and customized. So I want to make sure that as we're moving forward, that every school has the support that they need and they deserve.
Okay.
That every student in our county has the opportunities to truly accelerate and realize their fullest potential. I will tell you that Mr. Colon came and visited when I was in Broward County and came with a team.
We packed her up.
No.
Yes, that's a different story. Oh my goodness. And we are going to be collaborating with some other districts and PLCs, professional learning communities, so we can learn best practices and really be at the cutting edge, right? And providing our students with quality learning experiences.
So tell me, how does the new laws that went into effect last Friday, critical race theory and the parental rights education bill, as far as the gender and sexuality, how does that, what are you guys doing in changing things? And I guess another one is going to be affecting you as well, is the one, the critical race theory, as far as how you train your teachers and staff. How are these new laws, the ones that, they're fresh on the book, does that change your plan now?
Well, the Parent Bill of Rights, it's really not going to change when it comes to K through third, right?
Yeah.
Because in K through third,
we weren't doing it anyway.
Absolutely, we don't. However, when it comes to these laws, it's important that we talk about the impact, right? So there will be trainings where we will be training all school-based personnel and all district personnel so that they understand the ramifications, the guardrails, and what should that look like or not look like within our schools. So educating our team is going to be very, very important. So that's one. The second thing that we want to do is that throughout the year, right, as we're capturing or we're seeing situations in schools that could potentially become an issue, that we are being proactive in how we're handling those. But to be frank with you, the Parent Bill of Rights for K through third, it does not really affect us, but we still need to educate our team.
And do you guys how are you handling the transgender issues, the pronoun issues? Is this stuff that you've already trained your staff on anyway, so no additional training needs to be held?
Our staff has been trained, but we're tweaking some of those trainings. Again, talking about the bills and specifically what it means, what are the guardrails, right? And looking at our practices that we have in place to ensure that it's capturing truly what we should be doing and not doing. So we are doing a little bit of I guess adjustments to some of our trainings to ensure that our staff receives the most updated training, and that's going to be taking place during pre-planning.
Okay.
And so here's a picture of a few of the district staff in Broward County
So how many of you guys went? Wait, did you guys drive her down, or you went to visit her?
Oh my
So
goodness.
we had the pleasure of being invited to collaborate with their career and technical education folks in Broward County to share what we are doing in Volusia County and to also learn from them what they're doing and to begin a collaboration to see how we can better serve our students. And so I'm grateful to Superintendent Cartwright down in Broward County for her willingness. I started my introduction to her with an apology for recruiting her deputy superintendent to come to Volusia County.
What did she say about that?
You know what? I think you guys have known each other for a long time, and she saw it as promotion for Dr. Balgobin, and so
Like an opportunity you can't pass that one
and so
up.
she was very grateful not only to encourage Dr. B to do the right thing, but also to allow us to go to Broward County and a commitment to collaborate to see what are their best practices down there that we could probably implement over here, which we've already learned of several.
That's exchange of information is always a good thing.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what some of the people posted on, on different social media things when they heard about the salary. Well, first of all, Ruben, everybody was upset about the payout, what they considered somewhat of a golden parachute for Dr. Fritz. Lots of people. So why don't you break that down for us and tell us what he actually received? Because a lot of what he got was from his previous job, right?
Correct. And so the law is written that folks in that sort of position, if their contract is terminated early, they get 20 weeks of pay. That's the maximum. So I think that broke out to like $70,000, $80,000, 20 weeks of pay. The rest of it was sick pay. So when you hear the big number, 200,000, 186, whatever it was, he would have gotten that anyways. And so it's 20 weeks regardless. And that's by law.
Okay, but taxpayers, of course, it's our money, right? That's going into his pocket. And he was already sick anyway and got paid for that. And you had to do his job. I feel like you might have done his job longer than he did if you put all the time together, but I don't know if that's actually true. But you did it for a long time, didn't you? Dr. B, you did that job for a while?
I served as the interim superintendent for about seven months.
7 months.
And
During
then the rest
COVID.
is done.
During COVID. Wow. Oh my
And
goodness.
so, it was really, and this is, again, it's unfortunate, but again, the law protects folks in these positions.
So, but their concern and my question is, was he that bad that you couldn't have just kept him until we got Dr. B back instead of now paying for Dr. Fritz and the interim? Wouldn't it have just been cheaper and more cost effective to just keep Dr. Fritz, let him do it until you could get Dr. B back?
Would it be cheaper to let the cancer sit in your body instead of cutting it out?
I would think no. Well, it might be cheaper.
And so from a cultural standpoint, it was, we needed change in the district, and we could not afford to wait, in my opinion, and I'm one of 5 board members. In my opinion, we could not afford to wait. And as I said on the clip that they played earlier, I recognize that it was time. And so,
can you tell us what he said to you, which upset you so much yet? Just a ballpark, if you don't have to quote him, but just give me an idea of what, because I didn't know you, but I could hear the emotion in your voice. You were so upset, your voice was shaking.
I'm very passionate about the work that we do,
Yeah.
and I'm very passionate about our employees. And, you hear things sometimes, and until you experience it yourself, you don't realize it. And so that evening, when we were discussing the possibility of exploring further what an exit strategy would be, he made it very clear that he didn't want to be there anymore. And so at that point, I went from a decision of let's study what an exit strategy would be to we need to go to surgery and cut out this so that it doesn't spread anymore.
So, but what did he say that you felt that he was that much? You said until you experienced it yourself. Was he rude to you? Was he dismissive? What was it that upset you so much?
It was unbecoming of a superintendent, the conversation that we had.
Really?
And, a board meeting is the meeting of the board. And again, we had a discussion that was just not, and what you heard in my voice was restraint.
Really?
And like I said, and I said it out loud, it changed everything. And at that time, I will tell you, the very next day, the sun came out over Volusia County. It was a great day. And nowhere near as good as Tuesday when Dr. B walked in. But, again, it was time to move on. And, as I described earlier, if somebody gives you a diagnosis and says, well, we can cut it out and make sure the markers are clear, and I'm talking medical talk here, it was time. And, I would make that decision every day from now to August 23rd if I was asked the same question.
Oh, I was not going to ask that question. I knew the answer to that.
Every
You were
single
very
day.
relieved
I have
when you made that
no
decision.
regrets, and I will tell you, as a school district, the positivity that we are sensing right now, the feeling of inclusion and everyone feeling like they are a part of a great organization, it's unlike anything I've seen in the last 4 years.
Dr. B, was one of the reasons you left because of Dr. Fritz? Is that one of the reasons you accepted that other position?
I will tell you that I looked into the future, my future as a professional, and Broward was a good opportunity at that time.
Were you surprised when he left and they wanted you to come back?
I was somewhat, yeah. I was having a board meeting the very same day that Volusia had their board meeting. And while I'm in my board meeting, I'm getting texts from staff about what was taking place.
Really?
Yeah, and that's how I found out.
I could see. I mean, you're just so personable, and like you're one of those people you kind of gravitate to. You don't know why, but like I just love her. So I can see there's a clear difference between you and him. Now, I don't know what that says for your management style, but I would think that it would mean more people feel that they can open up to you, be honest with you, they trust you, and they know that they're safe. And I think that's one of the things you guys mentioned that was important to you.
And I'll tell you, when you're working, this is an organization where it's all about children, but the work is being done through people.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to recognize that fact. And I'll tell you, Trey, coming back, I've been holding, since Tuesday of this week, Listen and Learn with staff. And hundreds of staff members have shown up to those Listen and Learns. And one of the things that I asked them they asked me if we could continue to do those, and I did commit that we will be doing it every 9 weeks.
Oh, nice.
For anyone that would like to just attend a session and just share,
Don't
right?
you find that sometimes people just want to be heard?
People want to be heard, and they want to feel that they're part of something.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this job, or what I'm doing as a superintendent here of Volusia County, it's really not about me.
Right.
It really is about our kids.
It is.
And like I said, the work, we get it done through our most valuable asset, which are our people. So they need to experience that, they need to feel that, and they need to know that. So I need to do my part to ensure that I'm creating those experiences for them so that they feel part of this organization.
Tell me what parents can do, this school year. We know we're going to go in with a shortage, right? Mm-hmm. So what do we do to make sure that our kids are on track? Because at least parents like me, I get into work and working out and house stuff, and I sometimes forget unless my son says, hey, can you help me with a project?
Yeah.
So how do I stay more involved in his schooling to make sure I can't put it all on the school anymore, right? Yeah. So how do I make sure that he stays on track? Are there some tips you can give us parents?
Very good. I would say have conversations with the leadership of the school, principal, assistant principal, the coaches, talk to them, right? Every school, we will be doing a whole lot of announcements and newsletters will be going out from your schools. Read them, right? Attend those events.
Okay.
I would say when I had my child, obviously I didn't do it, but I made sure it happened because I was an educator, so my time was always so taken up. But the first thing I would do, I would say, tell me what is it that she's going to be learning for the first 9 weeks, and what can I do? So just having those conversations with school-based personnel, it's so important because they know that you care, you want to be involved, you want your child to be successful, and I think you are going to stand out in that way. Read every information that's coming home to you, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have suggestions for your school, share those suggestions as well.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What about the concern? Last year we had a bunch of kids that were either calling in threats, writing threats, posting on social media. A couple of weapons were brought to school. Are you guys doing anything to head off that? Because I know it was definitely a concern.
So I will tell you that we did purchase a software program, and we've got a team of individuals at the district level that are monitoring social media.
Wow. So you guys are not kidding around with this
We're
anymore.
not kidding around. School is a place of learning, and every life matters.
So
in addition to that, Dr. B and I in weeks past had a meeting with Sheriff Chitwood, and we're all committed to the same thing, and that's ensuring that not only Volusia County is a safe place, but that we are the model for the rest of the country on how to do it. And so there have been a lot of things that have taken place even over the summer, including ensuring that they have access to our camera system so that the deputies are able to see what's going on in the school. That was one of the faults that they found in Uvalde, that everybody was blind. And so there's a lot of work going on to ensure that we are great as it relates to school safety, working with our sheriff department and our other police agencies that we work with.
let me ask you guys a question, because when I do these stories with kids, that are bringing guns to school or calling in threats, they're charged as adults. Even if they're underage, they're a lot of the times, I think all the time, they're charged as adults. So the media has the right to release that name. But it is always, I always struggle as to whether I do it. Now, part of me says that child just brought a gun to school and put people in fear or at risk. They need to be put on notice for that. And people need to know it was them that did it. And people need to know, those parents need to know. So that's why I thought to do it. And then the other part of me says, well, they're just kids. And so maybe we don't need to embarrass them. What is your take? Do you think the name should be published, or do you think it does some harm?
So it's not something the school district does. That's typically done by the sheriff's office. And so we do work in collaboration with them as it relates to the press releases.
Yeah, what do you think should we be releasing their names? Do you think it hurts the students, or do you think it's a benefit and maybe a deterrent when we release their names?
I don't know the answer to that question.
What do you think, Doctor?
I would go back. I think it's a case-by-case scenario, and we will always cooperate with law enforcement when it comes to those, case-by-case scenarios.
Right, but do you think when we release their names that it has a negative effect? I'm trying to figure out, is there even a benefit of releasing the name? I don't want to do it if it's going to harm someone.
Trey, it would all depend on the situation and the occurrence and the context.
So you don't think it all, okay, good. That actually makes me feel better.
And I'll give you an example. You have a student that brings a gun to school, and that's terrible, absolutely. But the gun had a trigger lock on it. Well, is that the same gun we're talking about? The student didn't have access to the trigger lock.
Did the student know the trigger lock was on the gun?
Yeah. They brought it to be cool.
Oh.
It was their parents' firearm.
Okay.
And so arguably you could say, well, he brought a firearm to school, but the scenario, as she described in a case-by-case basis,
Right.
that firearm was never going to discharge. The student did not have access to the trigger lock. And so it's case by case. And I believe our sheriff's office does a very good job of figuring out when is the right time to release. Threats happen all the time. The kids, it's something we're seeing nationwide. It's their anger mechanism is to say, I'm going to do this. And so it's our job to, law enforcement is involved in every single case. As a school district, if you think about the school-based administrators, their job is either to figure out, are we going to suspend the student? Are we expelling the student? That's it. The rest is handled by the sheriff's office. And so a lot of that falls on them.
Yeah, oh, yeah. No, I know it does. I just wanted your opinion as, educators being involved in this, what you thought of the media releasing, juvenile names. Yeah. But I like that you said case by case, because that's how I've been doing it. If it's something where they brought a gun to school because they were being bullied, then I'm not going to report their name. They were protecting themselves. But if somebody's doing it because they're just being a jerk and planned on using it, absolutely. So, okay. Good to know. Thank you guys so much for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Balgobin, by the way, is the first Latina superintendent in Florida, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's what I was told.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. We'll see you back here 7 a.m. on Monday morning.
Thank you.